Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Taylor Dellinger, and I'm the Senior Data Analyst for the Western Piedmont Council of Governments. Welcome to our latest in a series of uh, data presentations looking at current employment statistics trends and how COVID-19 has impacted the numbers in our region. The good news is for October, we continue to make progress, as you'll see throughout the presentation, but we still have some ways to go to get back to the numbers that we had in terms of employment earlier this year. So let's go ahead and get started. And we'll look again at trends over the past year in terms of total employment for our four-county region. You can see where we were in October 2019. We had 156,300 jobs. And you can see where we were in March as well, 155,200. Of course, we lost that 28,000 jobs between March and April of 2020 in just 1 month time. Question is, how are we doing now? What progress are we making? And you can kind of see how we've had a pretty decent bounce back since April. Our October number is 143,300. That was a gain of 2,300 jobs compared to September, which is certainly good news. We're still about 12,000 off of the number that we were in March, but compared to where we were, we've now gained more than half of those jobs back. So again, that's a sign of making progress. We'll look at the goods producing sector, followed by the service providing sector in a moment. Let's look at goods producing first. You can see where our numbers were in October of 2019, about a year ago, 46,600. When the shutdown happened with COVID, we lost about 11,000 jobs in a month time. How are we doing since then? Well, we recovered pretty quickly between like April and June, which you don't see on here, but it went from about 35,500 to 40,000. The number stayed flat for several months. However, between September and October of 2020, we did see a gain of 800 goods producing jobs, which again is heading in the right direction. We've still got about 5,600 goods producing jobs to go to get back to where we were in March. All right, on the service producing side, again, good news, we're heading in the right direction. You can see where we were in October 2019. We had almost 110,000 service providing jobs. Between March and April 2020, we lost about 16,000 jobs. Again, how are we doing since then? Well, in September, we crossed the 100,000 mark again in terms of jobs, so that was good progress. Between September and October of 2020, we gained about 1,500 service jobs. So we're up to 102,400. That's about 6,300 less than in March. But again, we've made up a lot of ground. We've actually now gained more than 10,000 service providing jobs back. So again, that's good news. Now we'll look specifically at industries and how they're doing in terms of gains and losses over the past year and then over the past month. So looking at October 2019 to October 2020, again, our biggest loss in terms of percentage is furniture. It shows nearly a 30% loss in terms of employment. Again, with a lot of economic uncertainty, they did some rehiring back in May and June when the lockdown ended, but they have not fully staffed their manufacturing facilities yet. And you can clearly see that in the data. In order for us to get back to where we were, we'll need that other 30% of jobs to come back. Textile mills still in second place in terms of losses, 27.6. Again, this is a little surprising considering the amount of PPE that the region is now producing, but they haven't hired back all their workers either. Leisure and hospitality shows a 16.3% loss. Again, that percentage loss has been declining over the past few months, but that's still a pretty significant loss when you think about it. It's about 1 in 6 workers in leisure and hospitality, and that's tourism and restaurants, accommodations that have not come back yet. And then in fourth place is healthcare and social services, 13.2%. Again, a lot of people are holding off doctor's visits, dentist visits, elective outpatient surgeries, things like that. And they have not hired all their workers back either. And then you see the other two, wholesale trade, again, directly related to manufacturing, you see a 12.1% loss. And then local government at a 6.9% loss. Job gains between September and October. And you see information's in first place at 14.3%. That's actually a little bit misleading. It's a number percentage situation. That actually went up from 700 to 800. So it shows up as a 14.3% gain, even though in terms of total jobs, it's only about 100. But the other gains are pretty solid. Other professional and business services, those tend to be higher end service jobs. We saw a 5.2% gain, which is certainly good news. And we had a decent bounce back with leisure and hospitality that I mentioned a couple minutes ago, 4.4% gain in a month. So that's really good. Other durable products, that's non-furniture. Durable products, a 3.3% gain. You see mining, logging, construction, 2.3. That's mostly in construction. So we have a lot of residential apartments, non-residential, commercial, industrial going up at the same time in the region, and that's finally helping to spur some job growth in that sector. All right, how are we doing versus other MSAs? And we always want to see how everybody else is doing. We don't want to be in a bubble and not know how other MSAs are responding to COVID in terms of employment change. So if you look at our numbers, 8.3% loss between October 2019 and October 2020. That is the second highest, tied for second highest percentage loss among the metro areas. Asheville has the highest percentage loss, and that has to do with their reliance on hospitality and tourism. And since that industry hasn't bounced back yet, they continue to have the biggest percentage job loss. Our job loss is about 3.1 percentage points higher than the state. Over the past month, though, our gain's been pretty good. 1.6%, that's a pretty solid number. It's right in there, kind of in the middle of all the metro areas. It's also higher than the state, which had a 1.3% gain. Jacksonville had the biggest gain at 2.5%. A lot of that's being driven by military as well as their coastal location. Goods producing, how are we doing there? So you can see our 12.2% net job loss between October 2019 and October 2020. That was the fourth highest percentage loss. That's actually improvement, because if you looked at it from a few months ago, we would have been either first or tied for first. So we're slowly narrowing that gap. Durham Chapel Hill continues to remain with the highest percentage loss of 17.5, and a lot of that has to do with a loss of construction jobs. Also notice, you'll see Jacksonville and Wilmington with gains in goods producing. A lot of that has to do with the construction of beach homes. Over the last month, how are we doing? We actually had a pretty solid gain, 2 percentage point gain for our region. That was second highest. Only Rocky Mount was higher with 2.7, and our percentage growth was much better than the state, which only gained 0.6%. On the service side, you'll see we have a 6.7% loss. That's again kind of in the middle of the pack in terms of the MSAs, but that continues to improve for us. The Asheville and Wilmington MSAs have the biggest percentage losses. Again, not surprising considering their heavy reliance on the tourism industry, which is yet to fully bounce back for both of those regions. Over the past month, we had a 1.5% gain. That's right in line with the other metro areas in the state. And it's same percentage as North Carolina, as you can see, with the 1.5% gain. Again, Jacksonville led the way with 2.7% increase. And then you see New Bern, Raleigh, and Winston-Salem, they also had 2% or a little bit higher gain in terms of service providing employment. On the leisure and hospitality side, October 2019 to October 2020, again, you notice our numbers, it's a 16.3% loss. That's now actually the second lowest percentage loss. So we are seeing some bounce back with restaurant hirings. It's taken a while, but we're finally starting to see some gains in that. Asheville and Durham and Rocky Mount, you'll notice that their percentage losses are in the 33 to 34% range. And what that means is they still have to recover a third of their leisure and hospitality job losses that occurred since the pandemic started. So they still have a long ways to go, but at least for us in our region, we have made some progress. And you can also see it from this slide too, the 1 month gain for us, a 4.4% increase. Again, that's a solid number. It's right in line with many of the other metro areas in the state, a little bit higher than the state average as well. Raleigh is the one that had the biggest gain in terms of leisure and hospitality, 6.7%. And I suspect that's due to an increase in restaurant hirings that's helped to drive their number up. So hopefully we'll continue to make strides in getting our leisure and hospitality sector back to where it was. So I hope you enjoyed this afternoon's presentation. We'll continue to run these presentations for at least a couple more months. We'll have to see how the current spike in COVID-19 cases statewide impacts our numbers going forward. Hopefully, we'll continue to see employment gains and not shed some of the job gains that we've had and start losing jobs again. So we'll be monitoring that situation closely. If you have any questions about this afternoon's presentation, feel free to contact me. You see my email address on the screen. You can also give me a call at the office at 828-485-4233. Thank you very much and have a good day.